Darya and Polina, good afternoon. I got some comments for the piece that you did for your Teen Press project. So I wrote some notes. I'm going to read them, and I apologize if I make any mistakes because I didn't understand the language. But I've watched your piece about 3 or 4 times and tried to read into your body language and the ups and downs of the conversation. So that's what my comments are about. I really like how you began your piece with Daniel sitting at the computer. Looked to me like he was contemplating his future. I thought that was a really good way to start the story. Then I like how you cut to, I don't know if it's Daria or Polina, but standing in front of the building and then introducing yourself and talking about what you're going to do, and then cutting and then going inside the building. I thought that was an effective way to put your storyboard together. Your first guest, I don't know if she was a scientist or a doctor, but I really liked the frame of her laboratory because that gave me a lot of information, made me interested to look at what was happening in the frame. So I think that was really a good setting up of the shot. um, uh, then what I think might be helpful, and I know you didn't have that much time, but in the future to put a title block telling your name, who you are, with the Modular Teen Press when you're speaking, and then fading. And then when you go to your guest, put your guest's name there and say who they are, and then fade that out after 30 or seconds or so. Also, and I'm not your director, but I always like to see the journalist, you, in the frame along with your guest, connecting. So it's not just an interview of question and answer, but I can see you looking at each other, nodding at each other, interacting with each other, not even in words, but just in eye contact. And that, I think when you're both in the frame, that helps a connection better, other than just handing someone the questions. But that's my personal preference. Uh, with your second guest, and I'm not sure what he did, because his room with the brown cabinets and the notes on the side of him, I didn't know what he was about, and I don't know if you could have framed it differently to give us more information about him just within the background. Like if you look in the back of my picture, there's too much stuff going on, but there's a whole bunch of stories back there. And your doctor, your scientist, there was all kinds of information in their frame. In his frame, there might have been a lot of information there, but I didn't understand what that was. I just think to help visually your story, be thinking of that when you frame your shot, how you set things up, how you stage it. And again, I'd love to have both you, whether it was Polina or Darya, in the frame with that person. The third one, same. When the man is sitting at his desk across from you, there wasn't much information in that frame, which I just wanted more. I'm always wondering what's going on, and especially for me, since I didn't understand the language, then I needed that even more. And maybe that's not important. Love to have seen a title block underneath him introducing him, so I could read it or someone else could read it. And that big table, I was just going, oh, just get in the frame, go sit next to him and talk to him. I want to see you talking to each other, not just hearing his answers. But again, that might not have been your assignment or the way you want to tell the story, so that's okay. Let's see, other notes. I don't know if you know what B-roll is, but B-roll is when someone's talking, then suddenly there's some other footage that goes on. Like if someone's talking about their dog, instead of just their face talking about their dog, then people show a picture of their dog behind them, or that happens. So I'm wondering if you could have gotten some B-roll of what each of those three people did, and rather than have them on the screen the whole time, nothing against them, but to keep people interested in what they're talking about, if you could have gotten some footage of doctors doing work or whatever those other people do, a still or some video of that, so that it switches back and forth, not just that person's talking head on the screen the whole time. Okay. Then I like how when you were finished with your 3 interviews, you went back and did a montage of the buildings, the 3 places where you had done your interviews. That was a really good way to tell me, okay, we're coming to the end now. It's kind of a summary of what's happening. And what I would have loved to have seen as your final closing, since you began with Daniel at his computer, at his desk, contemplating his future, and then you went and interviewed these people that maybe those are things he might do in his future. I thought it would have been cool if you would have come back to Daniel, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, sitting at his computer thinking, and maybe saying something based on what you guys had just done, and then that be the closure. You started with it, you end with it. Just like when you're, a lot of times when someone does a piece of writing, whether it's a poem or a story, or a song, it ends with the beginning. It's like 2 bookmarks on the side of things. So they started with that, and you kind of end with it. Often is a device that lets people know that you're finished and completes the whole circle. So, in my conclusion, I could tell from all of your questions, even though I didn't know what the words were, and your interviews, that you put a lot of work in. You put a lot of work into your questions. That takes a lot of time to come up with those. That you had to set up going to those places, talking with those people, that you had to schedule that, you had to talk to someone, get invited to go and sit down and get all your stuff together and go there and do your interview. Both of you put in a lot of time and preparation. Then all the time it took afterwards to, okay, you've shot it, now you have to cut it and put it together and put your titles in and do all that. Thank you for taking all that time. I don't think people, unless they've done it, realize how long it takes to do an interview or a visit. So I only wish I spoke Belarusian or Russian, so I could learn what you all were saying. So keep up the good work. I hope you make more phone calls or however you set up interviews so you can learn what people do and what you might do. So, Jakuj, thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.